Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of season 3, episode 1, the local gaming store tournament is the topic, and we're already up to question 8. Reminder, this one goes to 11. So question number 8 is, do any of your answers for questions 1 through 7, and for those of you guys who are watching, go look at parts 1 and 2 to see what the questions were. Do any of your answers change if we change the game from 40K to something else? Fantasy Battle, War Machine, Hordes, Malifaux, something else, something non-40K related. And for this, we're going to start off with Tony from the Sustainable Center.
Yes, for checkers, chess, and Go, my answers change because there's really no tournament around it. You put the board down, people know the rules, and you play the game. Other than that, any wargaming, no, it doesn't change. You're going to get a different flavor, but there's going to be similar issues.
All right, John. Now remember, these are your answers, not everyone's answers. Do any of them change?
Well, they would change slightly for Warhammer Fantasy, but every other game system that I've encountered, I would never play in a tournament setting.
Yes, because John is well-versed with all other games. Solid Smurf, what's your thoughts?
A cookie's a cookie. You can call it chocolate chip. It can be vanilla. It can be peanut butter. They're all cookies. So, no, nothing's really going to change.
All right. I'm actually thinking that that one specific answer does change very dramatically when you're not dealing with 40K, but it doesn't change universally. And that is the terrain question. That completely gets different when you have things like Hordes and War Machine, where models are exact size. That they take up the entire cylinder, how high they are. It provides a lot of flexibility upon how the terrain actually can be brought to bear at a tournament setting without raising a whole lot of questions regarding what the rules should be. This also kind of plays a little bit with Warhammer Fantasy as well, but for the most part, I kind of agree with everyone else. For the remaining other 6 questions, I think pretty much everything pretty much stays the same. Continued discussion.
Nope. I think you would still see issues in terrain with the War Machine, and such as, how much of my base needs to be in the terrain to count it, like a trench, or a difficult terrain is identified, but like a trench or something along those lines in terms of cover. There's always going to be a minor little thing with the terrain, regardless of what you do with it. The only thing you can do is mitigate it by making it 2D and flat and giving values to it in the rule book, which War Machine does do. So it's a lot less of a problem, but there's still going to be issues.
Actually, the trench is fully defined in the rule system, and I would argue that that is not an issue. But any other further discussion before we move on? So, question number 9. Has mass media like YouTube, Facebook, podcasts, etc. affected the tournament experience? This can be any portion of the tournament experience. Has it been affected? For this, we are jumping over to Solid Smurf.
Yes, it definitely has. Just like in business, social media has exploded, and people are getting connected all over the place. I can go and like John's local, game store, Derpsville or whatever it's called, and I can see when they're doing tournaments, or, I can go over to yours and it's Herpsville, and, I can see where they're doing tournaments, and it's not I have to call around and be like, hey guys, when are you going to do a tournament? Oh, I'm so excited. I can just see it on Facebook when they're updating. So, yeah, it's definitely more accessible for the average wargamer.
All right, Tony, what's your thoughts?
I think, even with my channel, it was based upon changing the metagame and influencing people. So I think all of our channels are built around changing the metagame and influencing people towards a particular view. So I would definitely agree with mass media really exploding. Agree with Solid Smurf completely, especially since I work for a telecom. So.
Oh, okay. Nothing like keeping your job safe. John, what's your thoughts?
I'm going to say it doesn't change anything at all. I mean, let's be realistic here. It's not like there's tons of forums out there now talking about how to min-max lists, what units are good. It doesn't illustrate anything at all about how these books have evolved. It doesn't say, it doesn't open up the floor for like channels we'll make up theoretical channels like War Game Painting and the Sustainable Channel, arguing back and forth about the Carnifex, if it's viable or not. It doesn't do anything at all like this, so I'm definitely going to say it's absolutely useless. Nobody has anything ever to contribute. That's my 2 cents right there.
The sarcasm dripping like a fountain. We're going to go ahead and say I agree with everyone here. It definitely has changed the experience. Like Solid Smurf said, it's made tournaments a whole lot more available to people, and it has also posed kind of a bigger question because of the mass media effect. You can definitely get people from outside your local gaming store area, and it does impact the dynamics of how the tournament should be organized, how the rule system should work, and all this kind of wonderful jazz. All I can state is listen to this show and plan accordingly. Make sure you do your research, like Tony said. Continue discussion.
Yeah, I'm going to just add one more thing out. I mean, if we all didn't live within 5 minutes of everybody's house, there'd be no way that this would ever be happening. I mean, like the fact that we can walk to each other's houses and knock on the door, I mean, what fangled form of media can that happen online nowadays? That's just crazy talk.
I just want it to literally, my hand go through, show up on your screen and slap you upside the back of the head.
There's actually a paper cup attached to the end of this wire that runs to my headset and it goes to everybody else. I just want to let you know. And for voice over IP, we use 2 strings.
Oh, well, yeah, because it's powered. We're going to go
the extra bandwidth. We add more strings.
Exactly. That's when we're pumping the video and the audio. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and talk about question number 9. No, we already did talk about question number 9. Let's talk about question number 10. Question number 10 was the mystery question. Is the name tournament the only thing that has to change for all of this discussion to be moot? In other words, what if it was called the ladder event or the whatever? If the word tournament was somehow pulled out and chucked away from the event that you're organizing, does a lot of these issues kind of go away? And for this, we're going to start with John from War Game Painting.
I was trying to think of a funny leadway into it, but it's like calling a shark a bunny and then deciding to try and touch its tonsils. It's not really going to change the issue of your reaching into the mouth of a shark. Just because you rename something doesn't mean you're not going to get your arm bitten off when you go there. I mean, yes, you change the name of a tournament to Happy Super Fun Time. People are still going to go there with min-max lists, and they're going to ruin it for other people who go there just to have fun. It's not an issue of what the name is that's going to change what a tournament is.
Smurf, what's your thoughts?
I agree. If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's still a duck, no matter what you call it. I mean, it's gonna confuse people for a little bit, you know. It's like, oh, we came out with this new mode of transportation with 4 wheels on it, and we're gonna call it a brick. So everyone go jump in your brick and drive it around town, and then people are eventually gonna be going, isn't that just a car?
Nice.
Yeah, it's a car. We're gonna go drive a car.
Tony,
And
what's your
good.
thoughts?
I agree entirely, and marketing tries to do this all the time. Unless you actually change the core of something, you're not really going to change what it is. What's the difference between bottled water and tap water? Not really a lot. It's water is water, no matter what you call it. Now, you can sell it, and ignorant people will still buy it. But to really make a fundamental, long-lasting change, you need to change what it is. And yes, you have to change the verbiage. You can't take tournament and make it something completely different. Change the verb and then change what it is, and you'll see an impact.
I agree with Tony. I think the reality is that if you just change the name itself, you're not really getting to the heart of the issue. If you call it a ladder event and people still come to pay money and still get some stupid little prize that brings out the insanity that you're trying to avoid in a tournament, in a tournament, you're not actually achieving anything. But if you call it a ladder event, you devise a rule system and actually really let go with that whole like flexibility that an organizer can have, and change it all up. Maybe even just do door prizes for people instead of actually giving a care about placing number one. You have a chance to make a change. I have seen it done in the War Machine arena, where people were required to bring only one Warcaster, one unit, one Warjack, and one solo, and it really thoroughly changed the notion of what a tournament is in a way that was a really positive experience and allowed for brand new players to bring lists and have a good time. Continued discussion.
I did see something cool once where for a more fun tournament, you played the tournament, you got points. It was the 0-1-2 system, and for each point you got your name entered into a raffle. And at the end, so if you got 2 points, that's 2 entries into the raffle. If you got 1 point, that's 1 entry. So you got if you did awesome, you got 15 entries into this raffles. So, but if someone only got 1 win, they only got 2. But everyone got a chance to get in, but you benefited for doing better. So, and then what you do is they would draw at the end for door prizes, and everyone had a blast, and it was a really good time. You had your competitive guys that were like, yeah, I'm here to kick butt. You had the guys that weren't so competitive that just wanted to have fun, and everyone got along really, really well. So, I'm distracted by your dog in the background. I'm sorry.
Nice.
But it worked well.
Let's go ahead and conclude this then.
It's doing the Yoda.
Well, I gotta say, I gotta jump in here. I gotta be that guy.
You're always that guy, John.
It's not a tournament. I know. But for the new people who are not aware of the fact that I am that guy, I need to reiterate that I am that guy. But if you do this, it's no longer a tournament. So, again, the point is moot. A tournament is not everybody gets a pat on the head and here's a cookie. A tournament is you're the best, you won. This whole notion that we've been taught since kindergarten of you tried your hardest, you deserve something, is why America is getting crippled. We need to distinguish, you have succeeded, here is your reward. You have failed, come back and try again later. I'm being dead serious, and that's the mentality that a tournament is. As soon as you change that mentality, it's no longer a tournament.
I agree on a lower scale of animosity and vigor that John does, because no one can reach John's levels of animosity and vigor. They're just unattainable. But I think we're all looking at this from one perception of, I went to a tournament and I didn't have fun. There are a lot of people who enjoy that hyper-competitive environment, go to those tournaments and have fun. Exactly. If you have if they were just all fluffy tournaments, if GW really pounded the dirt and private suppressor and they were all fluff, we would be on here saying fluff is no fun. I want a competitive tournament. So you have to go to the event knowing what it is in advance with the proper expectations. I wouldn't go to a NASCAR event and expect to have fun because I think NASCAR is dumb. Just like a NASCAR fan might not go to a football event, although it's very un-American, because they don't think football is fun. So you have to have proper expectations for the event that you are attending before going. You can't go to an event expecting it to be fun when it's not for you. Know what you're getting into before you get into it. If you go to something you know you're not going to enjoy and you don't enjoy it, don't be surprised.
I think you just hit the name on the head there, though. Go to tournaments and expect to win. Go to an event, and that's what the game store has every second Saturday of every month, and that's just have fun. We just made up these rules. Here they are. Every second Saturday is this. Every third Saturday is bring the hammer and smash the other guy in the face with it. That there's a separation of church and state. Here's the fun weekend. Here's the tournament weekend. And then don't call them the same thing.
Okay, I need to
just as one closing note. I'm sorry. I was just going to say that everybody says tournaments are not fun, and I think that's unfair. Tournaments are fun. We always say you can either have fun or you can go to the tournament. That's condescending. That's kind of like the view that we always have. You can have fun at whatever you want. We're taking the opinion that you can't have fun at a tournament. You certainly can have fun. So don't just bite on our bullets.
Well, and again, I kind of want to iterate that as strong as John came across on this, I'm not trying to say that it needs to be, pansified as I think he would probably state. However,
I wouldn't be that nice.
What I am saying is that it wasn't about that. It was about all the questions that we asked, about terrain, about how much flexibility an organizer should have, and all that kind of stuff. I'm saying if you do change the name, you allow for different answers for all the other questions that we asked, that we talked about, still leaving it in a tournament scenario. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not trying to give everyone here's a 2-roll pop for attending my event. Thank you very much for coming. I am merely stating that you have a whole lot more flexibility on all the questions that we answered just by changing the name tournament to something else. And now we're here for question number 11, which is our usual question number 6, the prediction question. Give a prediction, no matter how outlandish, about the future of local gaming store tournaments. Local gaming store tournaments, not grand, like not the Ard Boys of the world, okay? And we're not even going to jump into big mode for this. Solid, go ahead, give us your answer.
This one's a hard one. They're going to be filled with power gamers who squish little kids into bugs and take all their door prizes.
Nice. Telling the truth of today's state as a prediction for tomorrow. Tony, what's up?
I think the future of local gaming store tournaments will be the same as the future for local gaming stores. If they adapt to their market and put a lot of effort into it, they'll be really successful. If they fail to attract their customers, they're going to fail. So know what your local area wants and then deliver on it. That's my opinion on it. So wherever you see the local FLGS go, that's where the tournaments are going to go. They're either going to keep growing or they're going to fall apart and you're going to see your stores exit your area.
John, what's your thoughts?
I'm going to say that it's going to be the same 12 people every weekend. I mean, you're not going to see a variation of people coming to these tournaments anymore because either A, they're going to develop enemies, or B, they're just not going to have fun at them. As sad as that is, there is only a handful of people like myself that go for the ultra competitiveness. I am a very competitive person. I want to win at everything that I do, and that's what I wake up in the morning to do. And then there's the people there that just go to have fun. I mean, there's no reason. I'm not I like to think of myself as a fun person to play against. I'm not a douchebag. I shake the guy's hand, you know. I always like to throw back to I bought the guy a KFC dinner one time. I mean, you know, I'm a decent guy to play against.
Not a Bible.
The Bible is a prediction, sir.
Okay.
So,
Touche.
Ooh.
So, that being said, there'll be the same 12 guys every weekend.
Okay. My prediction for the local gaming store tournament is it's going to evolve much more in the notion of mass media, and will be dependent highly on that in order to get the word out. We've already seen that be the reality for a lot of the local conventions here, where people just simply didn't know, and the more electronic and high-tech you get about getting the word out, quite honestly, the larger chance that your thing will succeed, but also it will also put a big target on the back of your tournament to make sure that it's done right. So as your tournaments increase in size, so too does the notion of a volunteer organizer go away. And that's the part 3 conclusion.
I would like to point out that I feel like I'm in a murder mystery because we have lost 2 people. Who's going to die next? As the lights fade, somebody is going to die.
Well, we were not going to let... Nice.
And then there were 2.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember to leave comments in the doobly-doo down below.